The Quacks of Quedlinburg, a game in which you're taking chips out of a bag to brew a potion. This is easily one of the best board games of the last 10 years. In fact, it is so good that it spawned a 2-player spin-off, where you take chips out of a bag to lure customers to your stand. But is the original good at 2 players? Yes, very much so. So if what you're looking for is a 2-player game, which of these 2 games should you go for? Today, we find out. In the original Quacks of Quedlinburg, I'm always able to go to the market at the end of a round. If I've exploded, then I'm sacrificing my victory points to do so, and if I've chickened out a little bit too early before I explode, then I'll still be able to go to the market, but I won't be able to buy quite as nice and shiny ingredients. But I am still able to go, and that I think is very, very important, because what that brings is a sense that whatever goes into my bag, everything that goes in here, is completely under my control. It feels like I'm building the bag to exactly how I want it to be, and that I'm progressing as the game goes on. I have a sense of control over what goes into the bag. Whereas in Quacks the Duel, how much money I have to spend at the market purely and only depends on how many black chips have come out of my bag and what the value is of them. So if I get loads of white chips coming out of my bag before the black ones, then I'm not going to be able to spend very much at the market. I'm not going to be able to fill the bag with the chips that I want. This leads to me feeling like I'm not in control of my bag as much as I am in the original Quacks of Quedlinburg. Considering that this is a push your luck game, being able to control that luck, being able to mitigate against bad luck, they're very important decisions, I think. So for me, in this sense, Quacks of Quedlinburg, the original, wins hands down. Another important factor in the enjoyment of any game, but especially I find when you're playing 2 players, is player interaction. In the original Quacks of Quedlinburg, I'm reaching into my bag, I'm placing chips out, and I decide when to stop purely based on what's in front of me here. It's very rare that I make that decision based on anything that my opponent's doing. I don't decide which chips I want in the market based on my opponent. I don't decide when to stop based on my opponent. There are really not many major decisions at all that are a direct consequence from actions from the other player. So player interaction isn't really great in the original Quacks of Quedlinburg. And this is something that they greatly improved for Quacks of Quedlinburg, the Duel. The way that you're moving the patient back and forward, and it's basically a tug-of-war system to win each individual patient. It feels much more like you're directly competing against your opponent. And I have, on multiple occasions, taken more out of my bag than I maybe think is optimal because I need to move that patient that one step further to stop my opponent from winning the patient. Basically, I'm making choices and taking actions that are a direct consequence of my opponent. When it comes to player interaction, there is only one winner here, and that is Quacks the Duel. So which of these 2 games should you get for 2 players? Well, in my personal opinion, the greater sense of control that you get over what goes into your bag in the original Quacks of Quedlinburg is slightly more important to me than the increased player interaction in Quacks the Duel. However, that being said, this is a 5-banana game, this is a 4-banana game. They are both very, very good, and you'll have great fun playing either. A side note as well, this of course goes up to 4 players, so you then have the option, if you have friends over, that you could play this game, whereas this one is obviously only 2. Although, that being said, another factor for this one is that it is slightly cheaper, but again, if you can afford it, if you have money to spare, this is just a slightly better game in my opinion. But yeah, they are both great games, so I would love to hear down in the comments what you think. Have you played both of these? Which one is your favourite? Which one would you recommend to somebody looking to buy a game that they're primarily going to play 2-player? Please let me know. And yeah, subscribe if you haven't already, and I shall see you in the next one. Take care, goodbye, and hey, don't explode. Goodbye.